Alright, instructional technology scholars, it's time for us to continue on our Google journey, and today we are talking about getting started with Google Classroom. So Google Classroom is a great tool for you to combine all your classroom materials as well as your Google Drive, a great place for students to have excellent feedback, communication, and collaboration with you as well as their classmates. So the way that this kind of lesson is designed is a flip lesson, so that what you're watching here is going to be a student experience mixed with kind of me showing you how to set up your classroom. That way we have a face-to-face session, you'll be able to have that time to kind of play around and start to develop your own Google Classroom. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head on over to classroom.google.com. Okay, so here we are on classroom.google.com, and I'm just going to kind of go through some different parts of this class. So this is the training class that I've set up, a place for you to kind of get the feel for what it's like to be a student using Google Classroom, and also just to have some resources and a good go-to place for materials. Okay, so let's first go to the About section. Now this About section is just kind of your standard about what this class is about. This would be a good place to maybe add your syllabus or an intro video, some things that kind of give an overview of what the class is all about. Okay, you notice too, once you create a Google Classroom, it's going to also create a folder in your Google Drive, and it's also going to create a calendar. So as you start to add assignments and have due dates, that's going to all be generated on a Google Calendar. Okay, if you are co-teaching, or maybe you are working with another teacher on Google Classroom, this is where you would invite another teacher. Students will also see this page and be able to know how to email you as well. Okay, so since I'm just getting started and setting up this Google class, I'm going to start adding some materials. And the first thing I'm going to add is an important link that's going to take you to the Google Support Center for Google Classroom. Go ahead and click link here. After I have copied it, I'm going to paste it, and now add link. Okay, and post. Now an easy resource for folks who are using this training site to go on to support.google.com and to get some of their classroom help questions answered. All right. Another great resource here is going to be a YouTube video, which I'm going to add. All right, now this podcast is called Tech Educator Podcast, and it is this instructional technology extraordinaire featuring Alice Keeler, where she's talked a lot about all the different ways that you can use Google Classroom. So once you start getting into it and getting the hang of it, if you kind of want to see all the tricks and tips that you can do as you become a more intermediate user of Google Classroom, this would be a great place to go. So I'm going to go ahead and take this link and put it in my Google Classroom About Me section. Now this is a video. So I'm going to go to this video icon, and you notice I could either do a search right here, or if I already know the URL, I could put it in right there. And we can see that is the podcast that I am looking to post. So I'm going to click add, and now it will be there for all students in this classroom. All right, now let's keep on moving to the left, and let's talk about student section. Okay, now since no one has joined this class right now, a lot of this is what we're going to talk about once you have joined in our face-to-face section. But just know that here you can invite students either by manually adding their email here. But the better option is to, of course, give them this class code. So, and I'll show you this part at the very end and how you and students are going to be able to add a Google Classroom to join one. All right, now let's go over to Stream. Now this is where you're going to spend most of your time when setting up and using Google Classroom. Okay, this little plus button over here talks about all the different things that you can add to Classroom. So let's first start with an announcement. You notice this is very similar to if you wanted to kind of compare this to Blackboard or some other kind of online classroom resource. Post an announcement, post an assignment, post an assessment, those things are all able to do here in Google Classroom. So I'm just going to give a nice little welcome message. Right? Now here I could assign this a topic. So for example, if we are in a more traditional class, I might call it Unit 1, right? Or I might call it Intro, and I'll show you kind of how those topics work out as well. All right? But it's just a simple announcement. I just want to say hello and welcome. Now if I wanted to have an attachment, post something from my Google Drive, post a YouTube video or a link, I could also do that here as well. All right, and I'm going to click Post. All right, I could also create a question. All right, so this is a question that's not similar to Google Forms, which we'll talk about later in our face-to-face session. Google's not going to be able to grade this question. This is more like a yes or no, or maybe a short answer warm-up question, but you don't have a way to automatically generate grades from that. So something to keep in mind. All right, and now I can create a multiple choice or never. All right, so that would give us a good idea of kind of who's in the session and who we're working with. Now I can have you guys see the class summary or choose not to, so that's going to be depending on, again, the kind of question that you're asking your students. I could again post resources, whether they be attachments, things from my Google Drive, a video, or a web link, and then ask. So now we see how to use an announcement and a question, but probably what you'll use the most, right, is to create an assignment. So I'm going to click Create Assignment. Now here I have a Google Doc that I've already created that I'm going to have you all respond to, and that is called Ready, Set, Google. Okay, so from here I can give it a due date. Okay, I could also again assign it that topic. Right, remember now when you create due dates and kind of that's what's going to add to the Google Calendar. Right? Now this time I'm going to attach a Google Doc for you to respond to. So I'm going to go click this icon to get into my Google Drive, and right here, Ready, Set, Google. Okay, so I'm going to add that, and now I have a couple of really cool options, and this is what I think makes Google Classroom the bomb.com to use with your students. So you have some options over here. For one, if I wanted you to just be able to view the file, maybe it was a reading or a map or something that you don't have to record any answers on, I would leave it as is. But since it's something that I want you to respond to and give back to me, I'm going to choose Make a Copy for each student. Okay? Now this option means that everybody is going to get a copy now in their drive that they are able to edit. It's going to automatically have their name on it, and it's going to have the topic of the assignment on it as well. So Ready, Set, Google. Okay? Make a copy. This other option over here, this Students Can Edit file, that's tempting because you're thinking you want the students to be able to edit it, but with this setting, that means that every student that's enrolled in this Google Classroom is able to edit the same file. So not something that you're probably going to use very often. You're probably just going to have Make a Copy and occasionally View File. Okay? Now notice I could add more things here too as well. So let's say I had a YouTube video that was all about the benefits of using Google Classroom. Actually, let's look that up. Let's look up a video. Okay, so here I have something for you to think about. Another one of my favorite podcasts, The Tech Educator. So I wanted to have that in there as a way to kind of get you thinking about some ways to use Google Classroom, some hints to kind of help you create your plans. All right. Now that that is all there, I could select a due date. All right, but I won't do that. No topic, but just know that those are available as well. Now, let's say I don't want to quite assign this yet. I want to go over some things in class before we get to it. I could also schedule this. All right, so I could pick a specific time and date that I want this to post. Of course, you could also save it as a draft and then post later. All right, I'm going to assign it now. All right, so there you go. That's really the basics of adding assignments, kind of how to get your students set up on it. So I'm going to save the rest for our face-to-face session because there's a lot more cooler things to do once I have students who are joining the class, and I'll be able to show you some cool tips and tricks and be able to have some good conversations and kind of consider what are some good ways to use Google Classroom and why is it going to be such a great resource for your class. All right, so for now, let's go ahead and go over to Google Classroom, and I'm going to show you how you can sign up in order to be a member of this class. Okay, so here we are on that main page. All right, now if you have not already signed in, it's going to ask you to sign in with your fcpsschools.net account. And so up here, if you hit that plus sign, that's how you can either create or join a class. So for now, go ahead and click join and enter that class code. And now you can see these resources that I posted on the training site. And when I see you face to face, you'll be able to now hit that plus sign, but now create a class. And so you'll start to create your own Google class if you have not started. So I'll see you in our face-to-face session.